Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown in too. If you are new, I'd like to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play. I hope you like what you see, and I would love to know more about you and what you like to stitch. And if you're a returning stitching friend, thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate you taking the time to watch my videos and to hang out with me. It means so much. And I was so excited to come to you, talk about stitching with you today. It was a longer week, and yesterday was particularly high in pain, so I was feeling a little down in the dumps. So this is great, be able to talk stitching with everybody. So I'm super excited about that. And thank you to all the floss tubers out there who yesterday kept me company when I was feeling a little low. Okay, so before we get started with my stitching, I do want to say that all the trading cards that have come in have been sent out, and just please let me know the status and we'll see how it goes. The woman at the post office was so nice. She was really lovely, and I think, very responsive compared to the last individual who wasn't not nice, but just wasn't helpful. This woman really went out of her way to make sure, hopefully, that these all get to you safe and sound. So hopefully they will. And watch in August for a video for the fall swap information. If you're interested, maybe you didn't get a chance to do the trading card, maybe you don't know what a trading card is, maybe you just want to try for the very first time. All of that information will come in August. I'm waffling between a couple of themes, so we'll see what happens. And anytime you have an idea for a theme, shoot me, a DM or an email or something or other, and I'll put it to the list because it's fun to see what other people would be excited to do. Now, if you notice, I usually would have the trading cards before I swapped them over here, but I didn't, and then it got kind of plain over there. I have all of my baker's twine is in there. Well, not all of it, but a good portion of it. So I just pulled out, I made these originally for my mom, which it didn't work out to give them to her. So now I put them up at the month. I still have 2 to stitch, and those might be the only 2 I need to fully finish as well. So I thought it'd be fun to just have something there. So maybe I'll start rotating some things, even like my scrapbook pages. Although I want to see how they would, if I wanted to keep them in the plastic so they don't get dinged up. So we'll see. But hopefully there'll be some fun things to see behind me. And at some point, maybe I'll get something put on the wall right here. Okay, so my projects this week, no starts or finishes. I know, surprising with the starts part, to be honest with you. All projects that have already been started and are just somewhere along the line of being finished. So I pulled out for Christmas just two this week. But what I'm doing is I did start that first one with the Primrose Cottage, and I think I'll work on that this week because that's a little one, so that should be fun. And then that's the only one I had slated for a start necessarily. Maybe there'll be others if there's something that really catches my fancy, but now I'm just pulling out things that I have that just need to kind of get worked on and moved along. So let's start with that first one. This is Christmas Eve from the Prairie Schooler. I don't remember, I forget now when I started this. I don't have that notebook. I don't keep over here. I keep it in the area where I stitch. So this way, if I finish something or if I change a floss, I can put a note right away most of the time in it so that I know to keep track of the info. But this one's been around for a while, and so part of it was I started it, didn't like the fabric, restarted it, and then it kind of sat for a bit. I love Christmas. Christmas is it's probably my favorite holiday, although I don't like winter. I really like summer, so that's the one conflict I have. But holiday-wise, I'd say Christmas is my favorite, but I don't seem to gravitate to a ton of Christmas stitching. But here we are. I think somebody had sent me, when I was kind of figuring out what fabric I wanted, I think somebody had sent me a picture that they had seen of a finish on a gray, and I absolutely loved it. So I said, that's what I have to do. So this is an 18 count Chinchilla from Mystic Fabrics. And this week, let me fold this over for a minute. I ended up, well, I've been working a little bit on the border here to get it going all the way around. Obviously, it'll be easy here with the snow because you're just going right underneath it. And then except for the eye. This guy is completely finished. Antlers are all set and in. There was the red here in there. The reins, kind of, I don't even know what you would call that, halter, harness maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure what reindeer are actually put on when they fly in the sky. And then, so I have the other half of this guy. Now, you'll notice here, and this was another change. There's been a lot of changes with this one, so I've ripped things out. And this looks a little choppy because I did rip out here. But I figure once everything is in, and how closely you're going to look. Anyway, I went back and forth on what colors, if I was going to do the words. So it says, Noel, Merry Christmas, Peace, Love. Let's say joy. That's the thing. Those are so light, it's hard to see anyway. And then I was going to do it with the kind of the greenish instead. And then I figured, you know what? No, I'm just going to do all snow. So what I really need to do, oh, I just heard the door bang. Yes, that was Mo last week. He had come back there was 2 different pickleball sessions and it was really hot last week. So he came back, actually took a shower and, relaxed for a little bit and then went and played pickleball again. So yes, nobody was breaking into the house, but the garage door bangs, between the house and the garage, and I just heard it bang. So it made me think about it. So luckily I'm still here. There was no burglar downstairs. What I should do is start putting in a strand every time I work on this, because I really don't want to have, it's not huge, but to have to go all the way across with just white stitching. I don't know, hate's a strong word, right? I don't hate stitching with white stitches, but it's not my favorite, to be honest with you. So if I hadn't done any at all, I might have done it in Floss just to make it fluffier. But I really don't want to pick out any more stitching again because it takes a long time. So I think I'm just going to go with it. And if that area is really bad, maybe I'll pick out that one section. If when it's completed, it still bothers me. Color-wise, otherwise, I think I'm using, except for Santa's face, I'm using all of the Prairie Schooler colors. And this, I didn't write on here. Did I write on my working copy what my switch was? It's been a while since I picked this one out, so I forgot to put down any color changes here. 842 is Santa's face. I rotate which one. I don't use a general, I always seem to change the Prairie Schooler faces. They're too pinky for me usually, but depending on the base color of fabric depends on what color face I do. So on this one, it looks like I did 842. I know on the jade fabric from Picture This Plus, that one I use pretty much the same one a lot of times because whatever it is looks good. Although one of the patterns I think I had to change because of Santa's coat. So I don't know on these Christmas pieces how much they'll keep coming out. I figure at least if I get some work on them, and I've been trying to get a minimum of around 300 stitches just so that they get a little bit of work. That one's not hard. It's just a matter of picking it up kind of thing. So we'll see. What would be good is if I can find challenges for it, because then that would really get me to go work on it. It poured last night, poured. I think I woke up, it was probably about 4:30, 4:45, and that was it for the day. I'm on that early morning wake up recently, and it was pouring rain, and then we had to go to the grocery store because there's no food in the house. And of course it was pouring rain when we were doing that. So it's a little muggy in here, although the rain has stopped. So we'll see. Next, my rotation, my 4-piece rotation brought up Spring Quaker this time around. Now I have made, and you're probably not going to notice necessarily, but there's going to be a slight change on the bunny, but I'd be really surprised, especially because it's small here, to look at it on the screen. You're really not going to notice so much. But I like it because what the called for just wasn't working. With this spring one, I'm not changing every color, but I have changed quite a few of the colors. So here we are. Oops, I gotta sit back. This is Spring Quaker. Yay! So it's coming along. Let me just bring it in for a second. So this week I did work on some of this inside border. Again, white stitching. So I came across here because I wanted to start doing whatever element here and I wanted to count it off. And then I also did some down this way. So again, I like to count the elements off of the borders, which is why it's so distressing that Summer Quaker is wrong somewhere. So I did that first just to get some of the white stitching out of the way. And then I couldn't really decide where to go. And I had the empty spot here with the rabbit, the bunny, because I wanted to change some of the colors. And so I ended up, everything is stitched except for the actual carrot. Oh, and maybe his eye. Yeah, the bunny eye. I figure once I get all the bunnies in, I'll just go back and do all the eyes. Keep me honest if I don't, if you see a bunny without an eye when I say I'm finished. So this is 18 count. It's rose hips from Under the Sea Fabrics. And I changed actually the bunny color itself too. So I think it was charted in 3865 and I went with B5200. I wanted it much brighter on this fabric because I wanted him to pop. This, as you can see, is the 3865, which I did keep. Let me see. No. So I kept that as called for, which is fine. You can see it in person and it doesn't need to pop as much, but I really wanted the element to. And then the outline of the bunny was it was kind of a brown, like a 648. Can I see? Where am I 6'4"? It might have been something like this. 648. And I wasn't really loving that. It was all right, but it was a little too brown for me. So I went with, I went through the grays and I ended up pulling out, I'm pretty sure it's this one, 415. So that the bunny has a nice outline and then he's nice and white. So all of the bunnies, you should see my notes for the floss page. There's so many changes. Hopefully I remember them all. But all the bunnies will end up being that color. And then the only other thing, the carrot color was called for was this 352, which sort of looks orange. And in fact, it kind of does. It's in there in the butterfly. But I wanted to pull out my DMC card, which is right there, color card. And I think I'm going to go through and maybe find if I can find something that's a little bit still not bright orange, but you know, a mellow orange, but something that maybe is a bit more orangey rather than peachy, and put that in. So that's the one thing I still haven't done. But this little guy was a lot of stitches. On these pieces, I try to get 500 for the week, and I did 500, and it was basically this element right here and some of the border. So there's a lot of stitches in this, but I am enjoying it. And I don't know if there'll be any color changes in the center. I'll wait and do, I'm going to do everything around the outside because this one is so color change heavy, and then I'll tackle the inside. The inside is very pretty. At one point, before I kind of started doing these, because I've done the summer one, started the summer one too, I thought about just stitching the center of that, to be honest with you, because it's just so pretty. And then once I started doing the whole thing, that went away. Okay, so next, because we've had 4th of July and, you know, July and all of that other stuff, I figured it would be fun to bring out, if I could find it, my flag. So this is my Quaker flag from Vivsters. There is a hashtag for a stitch along. People all over the world are stitching their flags, and it's hashtag 2024 Quaker Flag SAL. The stitch along originated in Australia. I think it started on Australia Day, and people everywhere, Canada, England, I've seen the US. If you're stitching it and you're, I would love to see it. I know off the top of my head, Canada, we have Karen, the Stitching Owl, and Vani, I believe, Thread the Needle, are both doing the Canadian flag. And then I know Amy from Renewing Stitches is doing the US flag. And my mind is blanking. Tell me if you're doing it, because I would love to just make a note of that. And if I haven't seen it, I want to see what your flag looks like. So I did go away from kind of that neutral fabric color, and I went with more of it. It's skewing bluish, but it's a cool gray. So it's a bluish gray. But if I look at it, and you were to say, quick, tell me what color this is, I would say gray before I'd say blue. That's the height of it. So you can see I'm got some of the border done just to get that in. And I think next time I want to pick it up and do some more border. So this way I can pick any one of the blocks that I want. But what did I do when I stitched it? First, I had to fill in all of this, a good portion of the, no, that was done. That was done. This one, I had to start all of this. Now these blocks, actually I might have done more, I don't remember. These blocks are really big when it comes to filling in. So I like to do those when I don't have to really think and pay attention. So that's why I didn't do these. Not that they aren't the same, right? But I did also, I wanted to play around with reds. So the called for red, and I'm going to show you, was, and I see this a lot, and it looks great depending on what fabric. And I think if I had gone with a neutral, I think this one would have looked really nice on the neutral as the red. It's the 3777. You see a lot of designers use that for red. But when I hold it up against my fabric, it's a very brown red. And I didn't want the red for the flag to really be brown. Do you know what I mean? So I played around with colors, and I didn't go with the brightest. This one is still got tones that are not as bright, but it is, what did I end up with? 816. And so I did a little bit of stitching on it, and because it also needs to go well with the 930 block, you know, and then these will be whites and the reds. But I thought that color looked really nice on this fabric. So it's still subdued. It's not a 321 or a 666 kind of red. But let me see if I like the colors that I can see right, I can reach right here. So 321 would be a lot brighter than this. Do you see the difference? And I thought maybe, okay, that might be a little bright against the 930. So I thought this one was a nice in-between between the 3777 and the 321. Let me put that back. So I think that's going to work. But that was my little test. That, of course, takes a lot longer because you're counting, right? And then I just did some mindless fill-in stitching. And yeah, I'm excited. So, you know, red, white, red on the stripes that way with the elements and the Quakers. And they will not be filled in. So it's just this top section, however many that is. So once those are done, and what I might do, I mean, I'd like to do some of the white Quaker fill-in. So if I'm on a Zoom, it's really good for fill-in because, or, you know, maybe I'm watching something that needs my attention a little bit more. It's just completely mindless. I don't think I have any really car stitching come out. That would be good car stitching too, because you could just sit there and just keep pulling out threads of that. So I'm excited to get a little bit more on that, and just plugging along really. Okay. Next we have July's Delphinium. And this is from, you'd think by now I've been stitching all 12 of these for 2 years. Cottage Garden Samplings. And I got a little bit more done. This one probably didn't get full 300 stitches this week. Oh, I know why. Because I had to pull. And then I tried a different color and I had to pull again. So this one was in timeout for part of the week. That's what it looks like right now. This is Cendre Blue 18 count from To Die For fabric. I actually have several To Die Fors this week, and they are currently on sabbatical. If you go to my description box at the very end, I list links to the fabrics, not all of them, but a lot of my favorites, kind of go-to fabrics that I look at. And I do mention about To Die For. Right now, you can't buy from her. Maybe we never will be able to. I don't know. But I just want to let you know. So that's this had words in it because I was stitching it with the DMC alternatives, and against this fabric especially, those colors just weren't looking good. So it took me quite a long time to do that. And then I picked a color to try because I think I'm going to do just one color, probably somewhere along the purple family, because you have this flower in between the words and the other purple. And I picked too dark a purple. And so then I had to pull it out again. So there was a lot of unhappy words. This bottom area now is I think, except for the antenna on the ladybug, because the ladybug has a little bit of antenna on top. This whole area is completely done. The watermelon, the ladybug, and then the little swirlies. I came up and I did some of this color. I don't know if I'll necessarily use this color for the words. Maybe I'll look at what maybe one of the inside colors of the purple flowers might work over here. I was hoping maybe for a very slight variegated, that would be kind of fun, purple. But the only one I had, well, one was the too dark one, and then the other one was very variegated. And for words especially, actually in general, I don't do well visually seeing things with the heavy variegation, especially with words. So I need it to be really light so that my eyes can kind of recognize it. So that wasn't working. So this is definitely not getting done this July. Obviously, this will be a 2025 goal. If I could figure out the floss, and maybe that's my challenge for this month, if I could figure out the floss, then maybe get the words in this month, and then the flowers should go on the quicker side. Border wise on this side, I'm almost done with these purples. I don't think maybe there's a white filling it in, I'm not sure. And then we come down and there's leaves that go with the flowers here. And the top border is completely done already too. So I don't have a ton of border to do, and the flowers are not too difficult. So we'll see. And I guess I'll have to see. I haven't looked to see what those pinks look like on my fabric yet. So that could be some changes. Oh, here comes the rain again. I think it's gotten a little darker, but hopefully the lighting seems okay still with you. But our grass was burnt. Well, not completely burnt, but definitely on the more burnt side. So we'll see what happens. This should help it. Next, so I have been working on this one all week. I'm struggling a little bit. So this could be an interesting concept I've given myself. And it's not the pattern. It's me and the one strand. I think I wasn't made necessarily for one strand stitching, but I think I just have to be more gentle too. The pattern itself, let me show you the full thing. I took a piece from Emerald, which is part of the Shooting Star collection from Carolyn Manning. And if I was trying to make it bigger, it's not gonna work. Maybe if I go this way. Nope. I don't know, it's not. Oh well. Anyway, it's this one right here, this small one. I'm taking this small one, I'm stitching it on 20 count fabric. It's gonna be a stone by Fiber on a Whim. And I'm using the one strand called for DMC. And then I wanted to make Christmas ornaments out of them for Christmas gifts. And so this one would be using birthstones. This one would be Connor's. So you can see this is I think you just finish off this board. So they're gonna be 4x4 on 20. So they're a little bit bigger, but you put big ornaments in with the small, and I think some of the other ornaments I've made for the kids for the last couple of years have been smaller, so that would work out well. This year could just be a big one. I just find, the stitching is, Carolyn Manning's patterns are lovely. I was able to put it in Pattern Keeper, so it's very easy. You look for the symbol and you stitch, if I do 100 stitches, that's usually like, if one of the colors has one of the big middle things, 2 of those is 80 stitches, then I throw some more in. So getting the 100 a day is not hard. It's just, I am a very strong stitcher. I don't know, and obviously it's muscle memory from when I learned 30 years ago. I don't know, and maybe that's just because back then you didn't have hand-dyed aidas. You just had generally the stronger aidas, and it's just something that I have trouble with. So when I'm doing one strand, it feels very frail when I'm stitching it. I'd say Sulky is the only one that doesn't feel as frail. And the Floche, it has its own, but I can kind of get along with that too. But I find even just pulling it, I have to be careful not to pull on the holes too much. And that's just me. That's not anything to do with the pattern. So I have pulled this out so that I've gotten an average of 100 a day. I really could use 200 a day if I really wanted to not put myself behind, because they're about a little over 6,000, maybe 6,300 stitches. So if I did 200 a day, that would put me in a good, you know, kind of good spot, right? Because I have 3 of these to stitch before Christmas. So we'll see. I'm just going to keep plugging along, see how I do. Right now, I'm keeping it at 100 because I don't want to, I don't want to overdo it too much and then kind of say, forget it, I'm not doing these at all. So we'll see. I suppose if worst comes to worst, maybe I get Connors done this year and worry about Meg and Liz next year. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, boy. It is, well, this is good. Nobody can say we're in a drought after this. Let's see. Next one right here. Now, this one is a retired piece. And this is the only thing I could find was the diamond painted version. So it's very bright, brighter than what I'm doing, but mine's still pretty good color-wise. So I pulled out for my full coverage this week that I kind of focused on, was Minnie Watching the World Go By. It was a chart I had gotten at Heaven and Earth Designs, artwork by Lucy Pittaway, but all of Lucy Pittaway was retired. I was so sad that I didn't realize it was retired, or it was retiring, because I definitely had some other ones of her pieces in my wish list at the time. This is a mini, so it's only about only 50,000 stitches, which, as you can see from the fabric, look at, that's it. That's the fabric. So this one right now, I think I looked at Pattern Keeper this morning just out of curiosity, and I think it's at 27%. Yay! So in the last probably 10-ish days, I got 1,800 stitches in it. Yay! I clearly had something on top of it there. But I did, as usual, my full coverage stitching is, I've said this before, it's very chaotic. It's orderly chaos. I know what I'm doing, but it looks chaotic. 2 strands over 1 full across on the 18 count aida. And yeah, I've been working and I've got a good amount. So this still blue sky has to be filled in, but I've got a good amount of the sky done. And then some of the other colors underneath the sky. And then when I get tired of that, I come over and I do some of the greens. You can see here, we've got some more of the fall trees colors coming in. And then I think I might have gone even over here to fill in some confetti. So I can honestly say every single section that has open spaces got work on this one. So for the year this year, I pulled out my full coverages. I make little library cards for them. This is the first year I'm doing this. And then I have them all kind of listed. And it's worked out well. I didn't know, before 2024 started, I did not have Pattern Keeper. So my numbers kind of reflected the fact that I was using paper patterns for full coverage. And I wanted to get at least 2,000 stitches in for the year. I am at about little over 4,000 stitches for the year. Now, I don't know how many more times this will get. It'll get at least one more. If I could give this one a month's focus, that could get, you know, nice, good progress. But I've got other ones I want to work on. So, and of course, there'll always be some that'll be started too. So I don't think that's happening, but I'm really pleased with how far along that one's come. So yay. Okay, this next one, I had to laugh. It was about 95 degrees and heavy humidity the day I worked on this. I don't know if I was trying to make myself feel cooler. Excuse me. It is Ruskin's Penguins from Modern Folk Embroidery. And I did change up the base fabric. I wanted it something a little bit more kind of oceany-ish. And so I went with this. And this is 18 count Mermaid Stream from To Die For Fabrics. And I'm still, it's still just all black stitching. So I'm using 310. No, I'm not using 310. I'm using Anchor Black. I think 310 was probably the called for. I mean, there's only the 2 colors in here. Well, they're Roxy Floss, chalkboard and weathered white. And then, so obviously you make your own alternatives, right, of white and black. But I always like using Anchor Black if I have the chance. And then white, what white am I using? That's a good question. Let me see. I might have just pulled out Blanc because this is pretty bright. Nope, I did go with the 5200. So I went with Bright Bright. Because I think part of it was I really wanted those snowflakes to pop. So I did do a little bit of white stitching originally. In among the black, I figured it'd be fine, but I also did one, and in person it really pops, just to make sure it would look good on this fabric. But I am at the bottom now of here. I really would like to do the whole border. Then I'll probably do the words and the snowflakes. I'd really like to do the penguins last because they just look so cute. So it doesn't look like much, but I did get some good progress here. I think once I kind of get that, and I should just bring this border down and around to make sure everything works and meets and everything, and then kind of fill in again. And I think it'll go faster because then there's something to count off of. So I enjoy this one. I kind of just pull it out whenever. I don't really have a lot of rhyme or reason for that one. Okay, so this next one was a second kind of Christmas in July sort of piece. This one I don't think had any stitching potentially this year. It's not a very big piece. It's called Good Tidings, and it is from Jeanette Douglas Designs. These are all three the same. They're just finished differently. It shows finishes in 3 different ways. And I enjoy it, but oh, and the one thing I'm not going to do, I'm not going to put the year. Now that is in over 1. Jeanette Douglas talks about that in the pattern, though. It's easy, you know, you can make it over 2. She gives all of the numbers for whatever year you happen to be doing it in. But I think I'm going to like it just fine without it, because there's nothing over here between the elements. So not putting something here makes everything kind of look even and the same. It's taken me a while, but I've figured out the best way to kind of do the border. It's a bit fiddly. I found a way to somewhat carry some of the colors without carrying too much. This is a lighter color, so I'm concerned about that. I really like this color. Unfortunately, I don't know what it is. I don't have a label on it. So it's an 18 count unnamed, and I don't know where it's from, but I think it's pretty. It's a nice little mint, and so the colors are really popping nicely against it, and it's going well with this color. So I've got this completely done. I did change, so with Jeanette Douglas Designs here, she does have, let's see here, it's charted in variegated flosses, but she provides DMC alternatives. And for the color here, that's like the little stem of the tree and then the brown around inside here, she gives 2 DMCs that you can blend. Well, honestly, how much variegation in those 6 stitches? You're not going to see any, right? And even here, I decided it wasn't worth it. I looked at the 2 different colors. I picked the color that I thought would look good, and I'm just doing that, and I'm not bothering with a blend. And I've been happy with it. I think it'll look good in the end. So this one right here, I don't know, maybe it'll be a scrapbook page. It'd be kind of cute if I could somehow make it almost like a tree topper-ish. I don't know. Yeah, that or a leaner. I'm not. It's one of those that could sit in the drawer for a year or 2 while I figure out what I want to do with it. I suspect, you know, if I was a pillow maker, but I don't really make pillows, so I think a lot of you, I think a pillow would be a go-to on this one. And one of the options they do show it as is a pillow. But it's cute. It's just a little slow going because it's a little fiddly. You know, you're changing the colors and so on and so forth. And I definitely have, and I'll continue to do small pieces because they're fun to do and there's some really cute designs. But the more I stitch, the more I like big blocks of color with some changes here and there and maybe a few little things here and there. Kind of like why I like the Summer Signs from Twin Peaks, because that does have Twin Peak Primitives. That does have that kind of blocky look. This is another one here. You do change colors, but you can find blocks of stuff. And so it makes for a little bit, for me, more enjoyable stitching. Some of you love changing the color in the needle every 6 stitches or something. That's just not necessarily my cup of tea. This is, what is this? Alice in Wonderland Tree from Tiny Modernist. And there is a stitch along with this one. It's hashtag #TinyAliceSal. And I know it doesn't look, but I did over 300 stitches on, here we go, the Queen of Hearts. She's not done yet, but she's coming along. And I had some extra, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see, on either side of the gold here under dress is some white. So what I had with the extra, I started to fill in. This entire clock is just white stitches, and then you back stitch the numbers and the hands. So, and all the back stitching I'm going to do at the end. This one has more than Wizard of Oz, but I think I mean, it's not that bad. I think mostly in like the flowers and stuff, and obviously the whiskers and the cat. So there's more up here. As you work your way down the bottom, there's less, and those are the bigger chunks. So yeah, so I did, and I mean, there's small blocks, but I kind of really concentrated on her on this time. This is 18 count opal blue ice from To Dye For Fabrics, and it is the exact same fabric that I used, in same dye piece that I used for Wizard of Oz. So they will be a two-piece collection, a two-part collection in the scrapbook when they're done. And I think it's going to be so cool because they're both going to be on the same fabric. So they're clearly going to be part of a collection. And they're the same sort of design with the tiers and everything else. This one is a great one for challenges. I'll have to see what, I haven't done any preparing for the Olympic challenge, stitch challenge yet. I think I'm going to be kind of a, by the seat of my pants from day to day, see what the prompt is and pull kind of person. Maybe. But that one has so many different elements and pieces and colors and things to it that I bet you I could find something to work on it during the Olympics. I have 1, 2, 3 more. Okay, so this next one, this is also a stitch along. It is the hashtag Arabesque SAL. There's also, if you're part of the Jan Hicks Facebook group, I'm almost sure, I don't know if she helps out, Jan Hicks is moderating and she's hosting it, but there is somebody that is part of Jan Hicks Facebook group is hosting a stitch along starting, I think, August 1st on this one. So I think there'll be more maybe stitches of this coming in the future. I think this is so pretty. And it is so open to interpretation. If you go watch either Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher, or Paula Stitching in High Heels, you will see two very different versions of this compared to what I did. I really liked that kind of, I'm calling it pomegranate color. And so I ended up going with that shade versus both Beth and Paula went in totally different directions, and their work is beautiful. It's one of those that just lends itself to kind of you jumping off however you want with it. This is also an unnamed fabric. It's unusual for me to have so many. It's a basic gray. I decided that I just wanted, this is actually a variegated floss. It's very slightly variegated, and the way I'm using it, it just is so, I just loved the color, and it was so rich and pretty. It's called Elvin, and it is from Stitchy Stuff Co. And I really like her hand-dyed flosses. They're so pretty. So I did kind of get myself to work more here. I think, I'm not 100% sure, this might be the bottom of that, and then I have this giant element to do. So you can see it's going to be a pretty long piece. I'm looking forward to doing this element and kind of having that and then working my way. There's a few counting errors here and there. There's a complete error somewhere in here, and I just made it match on the other side. So it's like matching errors rather than pulling things out. I did goof here, and I did have to pull because, you know, I needed that open spot. This border is very relaxing to do. So if you wanted some relaxing stitching and you're stitching on this, it just, you got to be careful because it's so relaxing. You kind of just keep going. So yeah, this is where this is coming along. I really like this. I have truly come to really, really enjoy monochromatic stitching. I just love the pick up strand and go, and then pick another and stitch, and not having to change colors. I find it just very, very relaxing and enjoyable, which is why actually you're going to see another monochromatic coming up. But I could see doing a week's worth of just monochromatic if I had that many. I don't, because they're just so fun to do. And I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. I know some of you really don't enjoy it, but there's something about it that I'm looking for my next piece while I'm talking to you. And Maybe I don't know if I've put it in the right folder, so let me go over here. It is a digital piece, so it should be in this, you know. I don't know where it is. So I am just going to show you, unfortunately, just the black and white piece. It's not going to do it justice, but, you know, sometimes that's all we have. So let me pull that out so I can show you what I'm doing. This is called The Uniqueness of Others from Yasmin's Made with Love. And you can see it doesn't do it any justice. There are all sorts of, like the 995, 996, those beautiful bright electric blues are in this one, and you're not going to be able to tell from that picture. This is, where's my stitch piece? Oh, is it underneath? It's underneath. I don't have all the colors in yet, so you won't get a full feel for it, but I'm really enjoying this one quite a bit. So isn't this beautiful fabric? I know it's a bit unusual, but I figure a lot of the bird, in fact, not a lot of, the whole bird will be kind of full coverage filled in. So all you're going to see are these variations in the colors around the bird. So I think it's a little distracting now, but as all of these get filled in, I think it's going to be so pretty. This is called Hello Beautiful, and it is from Mystic Fabric. And I could have done more of the feathers, but I decided I wanted to see what some of the in colors look like. So with these four, I did the base, and then there's another color, and then I started to do some of this. In fact, at the top of some of them, there's also some, but it's harder to see. But you can see how this beautiful blue is going to pop. And I think against these colors, I think it's going to look really pretty. And I mean, I am stitching the words, and the words say diversity is embracing the uniqueness of others. And this fabric is so unique that I think it's really going to be pretty. I am currently not going to stitch either the year or my initials, but I reserve the right, once it's completely done, to say, maybe it needs something. We'll see. But there it is up close. Isn't it pretty? So it's a little unusual, and I get it. This fabric is highly modeled compared to some of the other fabrics that I do, but I was struggling to find what fabric I thought I wanted to do it on. And then when I saw this one, it just kind of clicked, and I said, you know, I'm going to do a little out of the box for myself. Sometimes it's good to, you know, kind of change it up a little bit. And then when the fabric was called Hello Beautiful, I just thought that it was just the right sentiment to go with the words. So it kind of just all clicked. And my very last piece is one of my most enjoyable stitches. I love stitching this one. And this is Celtic Dragon. It's by 2x2 Stitch Art. And I am currently going to stitch the entire inner part of the dragon. And I'm kind of second guessing this entire pattern. I think I'm still going to do this section here. I'm going to do it in a deeper blue than what you're going to see this in. I was going to do this outer border, and I don't think I'm going to anymore. I just think this section right here in the circular is going to be beautiful. Now, I might finish the entire dragon and say, you know what? I'm good. We'll see. It's so beautiful. I am stitching this on, let me fold this over, Phoenix from Bestitch Me, 18 count. I just thought how wonderful to stitch a dragon on such a kind of fabric that just screams against what colors I'm doing here. I am using a variegated floss. I'm using She's So Blue from Roxy Floss, and I use that color to kind of, this dragon right here is actually a takeoff on Zayden's dragon from Fourth Wing. And then I do have a another pattern piece of a dragon that I think I want to do as Violet's dragon, one of. And I have these grand plans, but everything would have to be stitched and everything else. And the whole series of the books would have to come out and all of this and that. And that's a long time from now because book 3 is coming out January 2025. So unless she writes really fast, it's not until 2030, probably before all the books are even out. So I have plenty of time to stitch the dragons. I did start this one though for the hashtag Year of the Dragon Sal because we are in the Year of the Dragon. I'm not necessarily sure. Well, let's put it this way. If I was just stitching the dragon itself, I probably could get it done within the year for the Year of the Dragon. I think even adding this other element and my thoughts with that, let me see if I have this beautiful dragon bag that was gifted to me. What do I have in here? Okay, so let me see, and I do have some more. This, let me put the 2 up against the fabric. So this one is the She's So Blue. I bought so much of this just so I wouldn't run out. So that's the She's So Blue that I'm currently doing the dragon in. And then I'm thinking that I'm calling it the moon element next to it. This is Planetarium. And so you can see how it's a deeper blue. Almost, I mean, it's going to almost look black, but not. And it's a nice rich blue, so I think it'll be really pretty, especially against this fabric. What I might do, I'm going to do the whole entire dragon, and then maybe from there I will stitch a little bit of it, see what the colors look like, and see what I think. Oops, let's try not to drop any of that. So that's a work in progress itself, but I am 99% sure I'm taking out that square border though. And I was just going to stitch that one in DMC. Probably, I do have it in here. What was I going to use? 939, which could be very close to Planetarium. But I figured, especially for the border part, it didn't necessarily need to be a variegated. Because you really want your eyes on the dragon itself. So that's that. That's my stitching for the week. Yay! I do have some more Christmas that I'm going to pull out of pieces that I don't even know if I'll get to all of them because I'm just doing a couple a week as I go. So we'll see. I did pull out, we're working our way into plans at the moment. This is my container of, at the beginning of the year, in fact now, things that I think I might want to stitch next year, I might actually start putting in there. As you can see, well, at the beginning of the year, they were much taller because I had more, as you can see. So I don't have a lot in there right now. But I kind of just layer things in. Like, for example, I was thinking of doing this year. This is I'm collecting these from Liz Matthews, and I'm going to do the samplers. And I was going to start one this July, but they're not all out yet. And I do want to stitch them as a collection for the scrapbook. So I'm still waffling on whether they go on the same color fabric, and I really need to see all of them before I do that. So I've put that in the back of the list now, and I'll revisit that next year. But I still have, looking in here for August, for July, I still have the Freedom Quaker in here from the Heart Needle Art by Wendy, and I still have Summer Corner in here by Madame Chantilly. They're also those adorable Erin Elizabeth summer pieces. I think of these two, I'd actually pick the Erin Elizabeth, which is really kind of funny. Which one, I'm not sure, but they were really adorable. And then that's it until we hit, I think the rest of these are potentially for August. I seem to slow down with ideas as the year goes on. Usually my lists for January, February, March are much bigger than they are at the end of the year. And then I kind of pick up pieces. This was not in the list, but I think for August it would be a lot of fun. I really want to jump onto some of the Beatles stitching. And so this is Yellow Submarine, and it's part of the Magical Mystery Tour. There's a couple different stitch-alongs, so when I get started with it, I'll let you know what the hashtags are. Many of you know what they are anyway, because you watch those people. I would really like to find a really brightish blue and have the submarine in like Caribbean blue water. Do you know what I mean? And then if I had to change any of the colors of flosses, I could do that. So I'm on a fabric hunt, but that really just means in my fabric stash, because you know me and blue fabric, there really is no need for me. It doesn't stop me, but because there's a billion shades of blue, right? So I'm going to see if I can find something that just really sparks something in me. I'll pull the floss. Now, they do give a DMC alternative, and Blackbird is really wonderful because they do, in some cases, actually, there's quite a few here that are listed as blends. We'll see what part of it I'm stitching, whether or not I use the blend, or maybe I use something from Stitchy Stuff Co. because I really like their, or Roxy Floss, because those are the two that I've been just kind of buying stuff from. So this will be an August start, I believe, as long as I can find some fabric. So if you're stitching it, I want to see it, what your version is, or if you have stitched it. And if you'd like to, if you've been thinking about stitching it, maybe you want to join me. So I think that's coming in August, along with other things as well. Speaking of, I just happened, one of the full coverage, if you are a full coverage stitcher and you really like the Beatles, Stitch is So Beautiful. I want to say it's this month's artist focus. So Stitch is So Beautiful is a full coverage, they chart full coverage pieces. They have an Etsy shop, but they also have a standalone shop. So feel free to go there so Etsy doesn't get any of their money. And so they've been highlighting an artist that they will chart from. And I think this month's artist has one, it might be just called The Beatles something. And it's just this almost surreal looking piece that has homages to different Beatles songs. And I am no expert on Beatles songs at all. But I like them, listening to their music. I think I picked at least 6. Now I'd need to kind of probably make it a little bit bigger and think about it. But there was 5 or 6, I believe, that I was able to guess from just looking at that very quickly. So if you like full coverage and you are a fan of the Beatles, it's a very cool piece, because as you start to look, you say, oh, I see it. I see that song. I see that and that. So it's a very kind of a cool looking piece. Other than that, so Midsummer Stitch, I keep calling it Midsummer Magic. I think because she says it's a magical something or other, but Midsummer Stitch from Lindy Stitches is not this weekend, but it is next weekend. I did pick up my ticket. I've mentioned this before. Next weekend is Mo's birthday. Megan and Liz are coming down from Philly, but they're staying all week. So, you know, obviously I can't just kind of park myself at the laptop and just have stitchy fun for the entire duration, but I'm hoping to be able to pop in and out, and maybe I'll see some of you. If you're going, let me know. I would love to know. So that's coming up. That's also, I believe, 24 hours of cross stitch weekend. Now, I don't think it's listed under Whip Warriors, but usually it's Whip Frenzy that weekend. And so I think I'll do my own version of Whip Frenzy if they're not going to hold it next month. And, you know, kind of go through 200 stitches a piece and see how many pieces I can do that weekend. Again, with the girls here, I'll be stitching less anyway. So it'll probably be a lighter stitch weekend, but regardless, it's just fun to kind of do. So that is also there. And then I will continue with some of my Christmas, and I'm looking towards August and, you know, moving on. Don't forget, in October is my birthday, and we do the hashtag pumpkin birthday stitch along, pumpkin birthday Sal. Anything with a pumpkin, you don't have to start. I have many carryovers. I'm sure I'll start something. But anything with a pumpkin, and it doesn't have to be a an orange pumpkin. It could be a yellow pumpkin. It could be a blue pumpkin, or whatever. It could be pumpkin colored fabric or pumpkin colored floss, whatever you want to do in that sense. It's pretty low key and open to whatever. And we just carry it on from year to year during the month of October. So if you want to join along, start looking at your stuff with pumpkins. Okay, so that's plans. Other than that, shopping, really light shopping, I have to tell you. The only things I got, I showed you last week as my, I might want to buy. I did buy all 3. I know a lot of viewers. She had them on sale, and she's a new full coverage designer that I'd like to support. So I thought, you know what? I'm doing it. So this is Sweet Violet Stitch Co. and I'll link her down below when I link where the shopping stuff is. And I did end up buying all three. By the Sea, Sweet Land of Liberty, and A Villa in Tuscany. And I do want to start one of these. I'm thinking they're big. They're 400 by, they're all at least 400 on one side. They're all 400 on one side, and then in the 500s on the other side, tall wise. So I was thinking of trying 25 count. Now I know that would be 1/1. So I'd have to do the one strand. So I have to practice not pulling so tight and feeling okay with that before I do it. And maybe on the 25 count, it wouldn't be as big a deal anyway. So I'm thinking of that. I'm still kind of going between which one I'd want to start. We'll see. If you've bought any of Christina's, I would love to know, because she keeps putting in some great artists and great patterns. And she herself is stitching some of them. So she has a Flosstube. I'm going to write down. It's not Sweet Violet. It is something like Home of the Wildflowers. It'll be linked down below under Flosstubers. Let me put down Christina. And so you can see some of them she's stitching herself as well and getting them started and going. So that was it for shopping, to be honest with you. Yay. You know, the one thing, and many of you have shown me, I don't know if I can find it real quick, actually, if I go to 123, because it's on my 123 wish list already. Cottage garden. So the houses, right? Here we go. It's right at the front because it's coming soon. I know I saw so many people put this on their stories on Instagram. The lighthouse. I love that. So I have liked just about every one of the houses. A few are less my style than others, but this one is right up my alley, and I love, love, love. In the light, do you see how she did the designs in the light and everything else? So this is probably the first one of the houses I will stitch. I have the notify me to 123 stitch, so when it gets in, and I get the email, I'll probably be jumping over there to try to buy it. So that could be an August start as well. I'm not going to lie. I mean, that one, because that could be nice on, I wonder if I have some more Brave Boromir from those missing stitches. I might look, or a blue. I think any of the blues that I have would look nice too. So that is on my wish list, because 123 doesn't have it yet. So, you know, or no, I don't think anybody has it yet. So that's a 2 in the future purchase that I know is happening. Other stuff, you know, I'm like, oh, I think I'm going to buy it, and then I don't. So, you know, it just happens, right? But that one is a definite am going to buy kind of thing. Alrighty, so, oops, excuse me, giveaways. I have this fat quarter of ice blue 14 count Aida. Whoops, there we go. It's in the package. It's not been opened at all. I didn't do anything with it. I was gifted it, and I'm going to pass it along to one of you. And thank you so much for everybody who put your name in for it. And let me go to the winner on this one is Claudia, Petals and Wings. So Claudia, congratulations. If you could get back to me with your address, that would be fantastic. Thank you. And then this week, this cute little, and I'm not going to take it out of the plastic. It's in the plastic, has been, and it's going to stay in there, I think. Yeah, I don't think I've ever, because it doesn't look, it looks pretty pristine. I have an extra chubby fox from, is this Jeanette Douglas as well? Yeah. I haven't done any of them. I think I have Chubby Bird, and there's Chubby Fox. Is there Chubby Bunny? I think that's it. I'm not sure. I think he is so cute. So, so cute. And depending on, I don't know how big he is, but you could also just do the fox itself if you wanted a small little piece. I think that would be super cute as a trading card one of these days, if a fox ever came up as a theme. But anyway, this one's easy. The word is going to be fox, F-O-X. So if you put that word in, I will have your name in the list for picking a winner on this one. Please be at least 18. Please don't say giveaway or free. I would really appreciate it if you are a subscriber, but I don't check, I don't require, and you could be a subscriber, but you don't have to be public, which means I wouldn't know anyway. I do respect your privacy on that. So it's all on your honor, and I'm going to take you at your word. So that's that. Okay, so that's all the giveaway stuff. Look at this, 1 hour on the stitching part. Who am I? Okay, that's it for stitching. So if that's all you were here for, thank you for being here, and I will see you next time you stop by. Life stuff is pretty quiet, again, to be honest with you. Like I alluded to, yesterday was a difficult day. Luckily, I did have physical therapy in the afternoon, and I've been going probably maybe about a month, maybe 5 weeks to the physical therapist, and I really like this physical therapist. And I know physical therapists who are in some of the big physical therapy companies have their hands tied, right? They're required to see X number of people, and they're required to do certain things. So I know that that probably chafes at them, and I tried an experience like that, and it just didn't work for me. And I feel for the therapist there, because I know they probably would want to do things a little differently. But this is a small, different type of facility. I work with the therapist himself the entire hour. It's a full hour appointment. He works with me the entire time. Nobody else. He doesn't hand me off to anybody. We talk at the beginning, and he adjusts what he's going to do to how I'm feeling. So yesterday was a difficult day for me, and so he kind of readjusted in his mind what he was going to do, and we took it at the level that I was at. I really appreciate that. And again, he's always constantly adjusting. Okay, we're going to do these exercises until I see you next. Don't do these. This crafting area is on the second floor, and I'm my own worst enemy. I'm trying to do more than I should in some cases. So with the stairs, I'm up and down these stairs quite a bit. And so he's like, this is how I want you to do the stairs. I don't care how you feel. These are how you're going to do it for now. And so that we stop kind of aggravating certain things. So he said it in a nice way, of course. But so it's been a really good experience. So I was really pleased to have that appointment yesterday. And hopefully then that can get to things better. And I do my exercises, but sometimes I do more than I should, or a little more enthusiastically than I should. And so that is something on me that I do have to be careful with. But so I did have that this week. It's been hot, really, really, really hot the past week. I was going to say with this rain, it's going to get cool, but no, it's not, because beginning of next week is going to be hot again. I think next weekend, when I was looking at the weekend for Mo's birthday, I think a cold front comes through or something comes through, and then it's a little bit more manageable, like 80 degrees rather than 90, with humidity levels have been through the roof. So I try to get some fresh air, and in the morning, we have a front porch. It's muggy, but I've been getting out there anyway for my stitching time when I have some, just to kind of get that, even if it's muggy air, the fresh air, rather than just being stuck in the house all day. And we got myself a different chair for my stitching, so that hopefully will help for everything as well. And then kind of a special, I was kind of just using whatever for sleeping. But I did find a good pillow for sleeping to keep my hips level, kind of thing, so that will help with all of the pain through the back and the hips and everything else. So lots of kind of self-care things going on there. Who knew Staples had so many chair options? I figured I'd go in, sit on a few, just have an idea, and then order from Amazon, right? No, they had at least 30 chairs. And of course, out of the 30, there was only one that truly, when you're 5'2", nothing ever fits properly. But there was one that truly worked for my height and what I needed to do and sit and with the stitching. So, but we were excited. It was on sale and everything else. So I have a new chair. If you zoom with me, you might see a little bit of a red back in there, because that's the chair. Other than that, we did go and get our bowls this weekend, but it was hot. So Mo was a bit crankier with the heat than I was. We ate our bowls. It was hot at the beach. He's like, okay, let's go. I was like, okay. That's all right, because there's other times I make him stay out there. So, so there was a lot more inside time than normal, just because it was just really too hot to be outside. And yeah, that's really about it. I'm looking forward to next weekend's Zoom weekend, and I'm hoping this weekend, I'm really hoping, I did reserve my space at Stitch Across the Pond, and I haven't been able to go for several months now with the schedule, and next month I wouldn't be able to with our Stitchy Zoom weekend. So I'm hopefully excited to jump on there and see some people on that Zoom. So yeah, that's about it. We're just plugging along. Cannot believe we're just plugging into it's basically the middle of July. Summer always goes by too fast. I know some of you don't like this heat, but give me heat all day over the cold. It's my thing. Love it, love it, love it. Even though I'm getting older, you would have thought, but no, I still love it. Okay, so that's about it. I hope all is well with you. I hope you are healthy and well and safe and just having the best that you have available to you at this time. Hopefully you are taking some time out for yourself each and every day. Please remember that self-care is super, super important. It is not selfish, and you are important. And what makes you happy and whole and fills your cup is super, super important. So please take that time just for yourself. And until next time, happy stitching.